We're live on the air, so don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here.
Oh, nobody's.
You're not a cop.
No, you're.
Think I don't love my daughter or something, like you're holier than now or something.
There is no investigation.
What's up? What's happening? It's good to see you. Good to be here. Take a look at the chat here. What's up? What's up, Don Tolson? Hi. Good to see you. Live from the MBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There's not, really?
This
Wow,
young man.
It is to me.
Welcome to the lab, everybody. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Thank you for making the lab a part of your day. I wanted to say to everybody that's suffering from the fires and the air quality from the Canadian fires, praying for you, wishing you the best. I've dealt with that before, and so it's kind of normal from where I'm at, and but it's awful. It's just absolutely ridiculously awful. So we're thinking of you. You are in our thoughts and our prayers, and I hope that everything is going to be just fine with all of you. Now, I saw that for the Daniel Robinson case, I saw there were some updates. We will probably talk to his father at some point. I've been in contact with him. I saw the Harmony Montgomery's father, pile of crap. Adam is on trial for guns. Shocker. Yeah, he's just the worst. And he knows where she is, and I believe that the mother or the stepmother knows as well. But yes, they're just absolute monsters, and they were failed beyond belief. That child was failed beyond belief. Let me take a look. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm on a little early today, and sometimes that happens. But anyway, so here's what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'll tell you, failure of obligations. Now, I've heard that Hawkins County is not going to be doing a 2-year press conference. Not surprised by that at all in any way, shape, or form. Whatever information that they have, they do not want to give it out. They do not want to address it. They just don't. They don't want anybody speculating or conjuring up new theories, or I understand why they do it, But yeah, I guess we just got to let them work. They don't owe us anything. They don't owe us a press conference. And they said that they have shared all the information with us that they can. Let me see here. Jennifer says they don't have anything. I mean, come on. How do you know that? They may have nothing. They may have something. How do we know that they have nothing? I'm just saying what they're saying is they have no new information to give us. The public. They have no use for the public anymore in this case. None. They are not asking for a thing. Now, the one thing that I do, and I'm baffled with, as always, and by the way, and this always baffles me. But check this out. So let's say, because as it stands now of the facts of the case, that Don and Candace are not charged with anything. Don and Candace are as much of a suspect as anybody. Some may even say the main suspects, but law enforcement really hasn't done that to them. They really haven't put that target directly over them. And I think that's for a reason. But this whole Dudley situation now, Dudley's not a saint. Dudley's not somebody who you would, want to hang out with. Maybe you would. I don't know. Maybe Don did. I don't know. But people are like, why are you not being harder on Dudley? Why are you this or why are you that? Show Don, because I don't care. Like, I don't care about Dudley at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't care about Dudley. I don't. From everything that we've heard from Don Wells' mouth, his number one suspect, Dudley, has an alibi. And that's just the way that it's been. Okay? That's just the way that it's been. As far as I know, Dudley doesn't have a missing child. Now, if Dudley had a missing daughter that nobody has heard from since June 15th, 2021, then, obviously you're going to look at Dudley. Okay? You're going to look at Dudley. What I don't get is, say Don and Candace have nothing to do with this, and they truly, fully believe that their daughter, Summer Wells, was abducted that day. As we sit here today, is everybody satisfied? And I'm talking about the supporters and the detractors and just people in general who are paying attention to this case. Is everybody satisfied with the effort that Don and Candace have and are currently putting in to help find their daughter? Can we all agree that we're satisfied with that as a public? You understand? I don't believe I don't think so. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that Dawn and Candace are currently doing any. And Dawn, I don't know if you're watching this or not. Do not act like Candace is working with you the way that you say that she is. She's not. I know she's not. I know she's not going to work with you. I know she's not helping you. So what is it that Candace is doing all day? Dawn, Candace, what is it that's going on? And why are we not looking for Summer? Can at least what is that? Okay, well, sorry about that. Moving on. I didn't know what that was. It was, I have no idea. Anyway. Yeah, it felt like something was going on. I was like, what is this? I don't know. I really don't know, but I know that Candace isn't working, really helping Dawn at all. And I'm sure that I'll get some pushback on that at some point from some people, but I'm ready to disprove them at a moment's notice if need be. But I just know, I just know that she's not doing that. I know that she's not spending her days searching for answers. Don is back working, and you know what? I get it. He's got to make a living. I understand that he's got to work. He's got to work, but what's Candace doing? This to me all boils down to Candace. Now, from everything that I've ever heard about Candace, is that she's protected. She, kind of hides behind her emotions like a lot of people do. But, this whole narrative that they're off working together, that they're all, pitching in and working hard and blah, blah, blah. It's not true. It is not true. Candace is not helping in the way that people are saying that she is. She's not busy. She's not busy. And once again, and I look forward to anybody trying to tell me anything else, because I will and I can prove that. My question is to the people that follow this case, and by the way, and there are a lot of them, people that say, even the people that say, stop talking about the case, which is exactly what exactly what the parents want us to do. They want us to stop talking about it. Why? Why do people want us to stop talking about this case? For what? We can't have an opinion. And my opinion is that the parents haven't done jack shit to try and help find their daughter. That's just my opinion. And that's just from look, I've had conversations with Dawn. I've had conversations with Candace. They gave up very early on. And have ridden this thing out. And if they don't know or if they're not involved with who took her, if it wasn't them, then who was it? Who was it? It was just a stranger. Just a stranger. That's not how this stuff works. They have given up They want to move on. I'm not twisting anybody's words. 2 years. And I believe in my heart that I don't know if, look, I'm not going to say that Candace hasn't thrown up a flyer here or there or whatever, but the fact of the matter is it took her almost 2 weeks to even talk publicly about her daughter that was abducted off of right from under her nose. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. How? Why? Why would somebody do that? Why would a mother do that? A loving, caring mother do that. 2 weeks after your child is abducted by a stranger. 2 weeks it took her. And yeah, like Tammy says, it was the weirdest interview ever. Let's move on. Dawn Wells. Let's move on. So as I sit here today, and like you, wondering what happens next in the Summer Wells case, some things never change. And in my personal opinion, and you can call me hateful, you can say that I'm an asshole, you can say that I'm what is it that the losers say on it? Tragedy pimp, giving false information. You know, you can say whatever you want. I'll be all those things to tell you right now that Dawn and Candace haven't done a goddamn thing for their child. Excuse my language. I'm a little fired up. I apologize, but they haven't. It's just, and why haven't they? Well, I mean, common sense will tell you. Common sense will tell you. And once again, I do apologize. It's just very frustrating. And then just to hear the lies, the lies about their boys being taken, the lies. That's all it is. You know, I haven't even really been talking about this case much at all. And I get pissed off thinking, like, why would you not do everything that you could? That's just a normal thing to do when you're looking for your child. I'm going to play something for you really quick here. I'm going to do my civic duty for today.
When a child goes missing, every second matters. So does having the right kind of information. Introducing TN Kid Kit. Key details, questions, and a place for pictures. Free, easy to use, and ready to pass along to police in an emergency. Just download, fill it out, and keep it in a safe place. Like you, we hope you'll never need it. No one wants to think about one of our kids going missing. But if taking 10 minutes to prepare right now could make the difference when it matters most, wouldn't you? Get started now at tnkidkit.com.
They say somewhere around 500 to 600 missing cases in Tennessee each year. Most kids are found, and most kids are absolutely... It's just so frustrating. Most kids are found, and most of them are abducted by their parents in one way, shape, or another. Their parents are involved, especially when there's not. Have you ever heard of an Amber Alert where there is no vehicle or suspect description? I've never heard of that. Not that I'm an Amber Alert expert, but I've never ever heard of that. Maybe maybe it is something. Maybe it is a thing. I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I don't think it is. I've never heard of that. Typically, one of the major criteria for an Amber Alert is a child. There's an abductor with a vehicle, maybe a license plate number, maybe a description of somebody. I've seen nothing like that. And I think that the reason that they bring in the Amber Alert in this case is because they believed, and they still do believe, that Summer was and is in danger. Not because they have a vehicle description, or not that they believe that she was abducted or anything like that. There is nothing else on that Amber Alert with there's no vehicle and there's no description. They literally upgraded an endangered child alert from that to what? They went with an Amber Alert. Why did they do that? Why? Mystic Rose says there's nothing left in Tennessee for me. You know what? I believe you. I didn't hear her say that. It doesn't surprise me. People will say, well, that's not what she meant. She meant she lost her entire family. Well, there's still a child out there. And by the way, even if they did find Summer, she's not going back with Don and Candace, just the same way that the boys are never going back with Don and Candace. I don't know how much of that has to do with them not looking for their child. I'm just saying that they know that. They know that. Don and Candace know that. She said it on Daisy's. Yeah, well, right. And here's the thing. If you react to something like that, her handlers, or, Candace's fans, as I call them, will say you are taking it out of context. You are twisting her words. And by the way, every time they say something terrible or stupid or something that doesn't make any sense at all, means that we're going to take it the wrong way. And there's been a lot of that, by the way. There's been a ton of that. There has been so much. There has been so many little things that have been said, little, big, and every single one of them has been taken out of context, and every single one of them has been twisted and manipulated and changed and everything. It's just unbelievable. There's nothing left for her in Tennessee. Your child went missing in that state, went missing from that house. Now, I'm not trying to make light of this, but I've lost a wallet before that I honestly looked for 6 months. It wasn't an everyday thing, but I was just like, where is my wallet? And I would search the house. Never found it. Sometimes I'm like, it could still be out there somewhere. I'm telling you. I mean, it bothered me too. I was like, man, where's my wallet at? It's got to be around here somewhere. And that's just a wallet. That's just a wallet. Looked for a long time. I've looked for, missing shoes, a missing shoe before a long time. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but it actually does kind of make sense if you really, truly want to think about it. Oh my God, show the parents grace. No, why? For what? What have they done to earn that? What have they earned? How have they earned anything other than criticism, even if they didn't have anything to do with Summer going missing initially. It's all about Ben trying. You know, Don's always saying, well, the reason I pulled that prank on Mary was I had to find out who was feeding information. What? Why? That's important at that moment. No, that isn't. It's not. Maybe it was to him. But, you know, he conjured up a whole thing. Him and Candace on their spare time while their kids are in state's custody and one's missing, they come up with this just diabolical plan to try and smoke out the rat. Good job. You did great. And I know that you're buying time. I know that you're waiting for the hammer to drop like the rest of us. And it's gonna drop. It's going to. It has to. Nobody Don and Candace talked about how they didn't even want children anymore. And they ended up having 4 of them after they've already had several others. 3 have been taken. 1 is missing. And it would be asinine to think that they had anything to do with their child going missing. It would be crazy to even suspect them. Oh no, Dudley. Let's talk about Dudley. Dudley worked with Dawn. Dudley's on meth. Dudley drinks. Dudley does drugs. No shit. So does Dawn. So does Dawn. So does Candace. And guess what? Summer's their daughter. Summer is their daughter, not Dudley's. Dudley was not in. Candace's biggest problem with this whole abduction thing is nobody gets abducted like that. Like that's not really, it's not a thing. Kids do get abducted. Kids do wander off. But 20 feet from her, while she was outside, she was outside. She wasn't even inside. She was outside with her mom. She was outside with her mom, supposedly. Outside with her mom. And somehow somebody like Dudley snuck up there. Somebody like Dudley or number one suspect, Don's number one suspect. And Don has always said he has an alibi. He has an alibi, a solid one, a good alibi. He said this. Well, there you go. Like, Dudley's got a really solid alibi. Okay, well, who's your next suspect? Don. Who would Don Wells' next suspect? You had a number 1 suspect. Who's your number 2 suspect? Who's your number 3 suspect, Don? Who? Why Dudley's one of he's like a throwaway, it's like, who cares what happens to Dudley? Stick a missing child on him. It's really not going to affect Dudley's life all that much because, Dudley has major problems. It doesn't seem like he's a good guy. Okay. I think that most of us can agree that Dudley has problems, that he's wanted for all kinds of things. They're not good things. So why not just tack him on? Why not? It's Dudley. Dobbs. Yeah, they blamed so many people. Dudley is a dud as far as Summer's case goes. It's a non-starter. It's a nothing burger. Dudley had, and I'm telling you this. Most of the people that follow this case and have common sense don't give one damn about Dudley. All right. They don't care about him. They don't care about him. Let me see. But isn't Dudley on the list of suspects with law enforcement? Debbie, have you seen a list of suspects that I haven't seen? Because I have not seen a list of suspects. And do you really think that they would have this Amber Alert going on with the guy literally living right under their nose? But honestly, have you seen a list of suspects? And if you have, can you email me that list of suspects? I would love to take a look at it. Would be great. The police never liked Dudley as a suspect. Well, I'm just saying, is he on the list? Is he on the list? Dudley? There's no list of suspects or persons of interest yet. Dudley's not on that list. Yeah, Don, that's Don's no list, just a table with everyone on it. 1, 2, first of all, then second of all, then first of all again, then second of all, then first of all. No list. Sheriff Lawson only says everyone is still considered a suspect. But, you know, he's really being, and that's another thing. He's not, everybody's not a suspect, because that would include every single person in Hawkins County. And that's just not true. They're talking about the people that are involved. They're talking about the people that were in charge of Summer, that were around Summer, that had access to Summer. Now, and if you think that Dudley had that kind of access, I don't know that's the case. But you can be assured that Don told TBI that he had high suspicions of Dudley, and you can be sure that they looked into those. And guess what? Dudley has a list of charges, but they don't involve Summer. They just don't. In a missing child case, the way they would want to clear Don and Candace. They haven't cleared Don and Candace. They're not going to clear Don and Candace. That's just never going to happen, because innocent people, and I don't know what they're guilty of. I'll say that right now. I don't know what they're guilty of. I know that they're guilty of not looking for their child. Is that against the law? No. Do I want people to bug and harass them because of it? No. Do I find it despicable? Yes. Is that anything new? No. But like I said, as we're here today, the 7th of June, 2023, just days shy of a 2-year mark of a child missing. And you're going to tell me that Don and Candace are doing the proper things for their missing daughter. We can call out everybody else's bad behavior on YouTube and in general, these watchdog groups or whatever the frig they think they are. It's kind of weird, but like, what about the people that actually need it? Don and Candace have a missing daughter. It's their daughter. I said, well, oh my God, you know, that they're just, blah, blah, blah. They're just, you know, they're hurting. Okay, well, maybe. I remember something last night, Dawn on a live going on and on about how much somebody looked like Jeannie when Jeannie was younger. Oh my God. I didn't hear that. Nor do I want to. I just pray and hope that we will not be on social media several years later talking about justice for Summer. Who knows? Who knows? And this is a great comment. The fear of living in jail trumps their love for their daughter. I've heard Dawn say that I love my daughter more than life itself. Well, then how about you change your lifestyle to make it look so you're looking for your daughter? They're not looking. They're not looking. Candace isn't helping Dawn work like everybody, like she says she is. She's not doing anything. She's hanging out at the hotel or whatever, wherever the frig they are. I don't know where they are, but she's not helping. She's at home, wherever home is for them, doing nothing. Nothing. And how is that just, that's just fine. That's just fine. How dare anybody question their motives? How dare anybody question the parents of a missing child? These aren't normal parents of a missing child. They're just not. It's just not. And the people that believe that Candace is working with Dawn are mistaken. It's just, you know, something for her to say, I've been working. I don't know if she did at one point. Maybe she was helping him at one point. But that's not what's going on now. And I know that. And I know that for a fact. And so that's really my question. As a parent, and by the way, I am not a perfect parent. I've never been a perfect parent. I've never claimed to be a perfect parent, but you have a certain obligations to your children in life. And part of those obligations is to protect them at all cost, under any circumstance. And if, by the way, it's the same thing, it's no different. If somebody goes missing, you don't ever stop. You never stop. You never stop looking for them. You're obligated for the rest of your life to look for your child. You're obligated. That is your obligation as a parent. You have one last act as a parent. You don't get to stop. You didn't even, the thing is, you didn't even start, but you don't get to stop. You couldn't have much of a conscience to sit and do nothing for a missing child. You don't get to stop. Lisa says Don swore up and down that he knew without a doubt that Summer was abducted. All of a sudden, she could have walked off. All of a sudden, you're right. It was all of a sudden. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm just, baffled. I sit back and I just hear these people say, leave Don and Candace alone, leave, they're this, they're that. I'm going to tell you right now, my opinion of Candace isn't one that I would really care to talk about out loud. And it's not because of drugs or alcohol or personality, which I find her personality putrid at best. I've met people similar to her. That's not where my opinion lies. My opinion comes from the fact that they've done nothing. Nothing. If they had in the past, okay. I'm not talking about the past. I don't believe that they did anything to begin with, but they say that they did. Okay. I'll buy that for now. Maybe they did. Okay. I don't think they did, but what are they doing now? Dawn is working and Candace is sitting at home or in a hotel while Dawn works. And that's okay. That's fine. We're good with that. Everybody's fine with it. Okay. Well, then, let's just, Jesus, if that was your kid, if that was my sister, I'm telling you this right now, or if my sister, say my child was missing and I was acting the way that Don Candace did, my sister would kill me. She'd just flat out be like, you know what, dude, what the hell are you doing? You can't, why are you acting like this? Why are you acting like this? Because they're not doing anything. And the whole, TBI not having an update, that doesn't mean that they don't have any information. They just don't have any new information that they want to either share with the public. They may have tons of information, but they don't want to show it. That's not what I take away from them saying, we're not having a press conference. I'm just under the impression that they're just like, look, we've told you everything that we can tell you, and that there's nothing more to tell you. Would be amazing if they came out and said the parents are cooperating, which, how that's even debatable is mind blowing to me. But some jerk off will figure out a way to try to defend that for no good reason other than to be a heel and think that they're smart when it's absolutely indefensible. You cannot defend that. And you can't defend that because the only way that you're going to defend that they're actually doing anything is if you just say, well, they're not doing anything. And then the person would say, well, yeah, they are. Okay, what? Well, they're doing stuff. What's that stuff? I don't know. What is that stuff? I don't know. But that they're doing stuff. That's how people argue now. You say, well, the parents aren't doing anything to help find their children. And then all of a sudden somebody comes back and say, yes, they are. Oh, okay, good enough. Sight unseen. We believe it. Hook, line, and sinker. Yep. They're doing something. Really? Jennifer Cole says going on YouTube doesn't count. I agree. Well, common sense true crime. I mean, yeah, it's really, really frustrating. Now I think maybe some of you earlier had seen, I put out a video about Summer this morning. Now that is not a brand new video at all. I don't know who's watched it, and if you have, thank you. That was how that video happened. Was I was reading stuff online and I came across the story, and I read the report. I animated it. It was the very first piece of content that I had ever done about Summer. And I know, I think one of the days says July 15th. I did this close to 2 years ago. And it was on my old channel. And from that day on, I never stopped paying attention to the case. I never stopped paying attention. Like I said, that was legitimately the very first time. And that was all that I had planned. That's all that I had planned. I didn't plan on following it even further. I didn't plan on anything. I didn't plan on any of it. I saw that a little girl was missing, and that maybe some people, where I'm at, because I hadn't heard anything about it. I didn't even have any I didn't even have any subscribers back then. I probably had like 1,000, and it was just from doing these little narration stories. That was it. So neither of them yeah, but I've seen this before. I've seen this before. One thing that I did notice, I said Rose Mary Bly, and it was Rosemarie. And so I messed that up. Sorry about that. And then I think as well, I said June 15th, I think. Is that what I said? July 15th. So, but forgive me, like I said, it was absolutely the first video that I had ever done. Hold on one second. So, by the way, when I did it, it was just nothing but here, maybe this will help. And I don't know if it did or not. But that's just how it started for me. Remember, Don said he didn't want anyone to go to jail. So yeah, I think it's called the Reed technique or something like that. You ask somebody like, hey, what do you think the punishment should be? And you literally should be, I hope they rot forever. And we get our kids back, and that they should be in prison forever, or put to death, or whatever. But nope, none of that. None of that. It was, he didn't really want anybody to get in trouble for it. Yeah, exactly. Well, so the thing about that was like I didn't even know that the Summerwell story was even as big on YouTube as it was, because it's not really that well known around the country, unfortunately, and I wish that it was more well known. It's not, but what are you going to do? That's all I did. I just wanted to put a video out. And then their press conference, their meeting on the mountain, the craziest most insane let me see, I'll show you here. I've seen it a million times and I want to watch it again.
Out of love,
trying
to get information and trying to get her found. We thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
That means a lot.
And we thank everybody who's trying so hard and praying so hard. And she's an awesome young lady, and we just want her back. But, yeah, there's always going to be haters, and it's always going to be that way in this world. We just want to focus on the good friends and Christian people that are trying to help us and praying for us and praying for Summer. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. And that's the kind of people we try to relate with and socialize with. So we don't know anything about, no red truck, or we hardly know many of our neighbors. I mean, because we just try to be around good people. I mean, and we do have good people in this area. We found out since this has all happened. We got some real good neighbors and good folks everywhere. But
the most important thing is to bring Summer home safe. I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband. He's always provided.
When I first heard this right here, when she said thanks to Summer's dad and my husband, I thought that Summer's dad was a different person the way that she said it.
Has worked as much as he could and can and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around, ever.
She loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl," and she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl.
And I'm not one of those big, like, I'm not. I don't think, like, the past tense thing is past tense. I get it. But the way that they're talking about her is might as well be a funeral.
Arm got tired, but, and I put out there that
this is 2 weeks after Summer went missing. I believe Dawn had spoke to the media maybe once or twice. This is the first time that Candace ever spoke to anybody in law enforcement, or excuse me, not in law enforcement, to the public, which is Oh.
One of Summer's favorite songs was Godzilla, and they say, you know, and they're jumping all over me about past tense was, you know. Well, I'm sorry about that. It's just,
She also liked the song by New Breed. It was called House, My House. She sung that a lot of times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
she liked to think of herself as a princess, and you know, and all that, like all young girls do. And
She loved Frozen. She loved to be that Elsa, and
I think she really loved to be in church because she felt a lot of love there. And I think you can't explain what that love is, but you feel it and you know it, you know, when you're young. And she felt that there, and she loved everybody in that church, or she loves everybody in that church. I should rephrase that because they'll tear that apart as past tense. And I apologize again for that. I hope she gets to come home, you know, and I hope she gets to be with our church family again.
her best friend in that church was Robin. She loved her to death.
Yeah, she looked up to
When
women that were.
she come to that church, she went looking for Robin. That was her favorite person.
Any woman that was professional, that
was pretty,
yeah,
beautiful.
she looked up to those kind of women. She, you know, they were the word I'm looking for, I can't think of it, but she looked up to them. She give them a run for their money every day.
Beanie Love says
She'd
he
give 'em a run for
always
their money. And there
uses
was times,
religion as
you
a
know,
shield. I agree with that.
We'd be, you know, that our boys like, don't do this and don't do that. And next thing you know, the stick would come up and just whop them, you know, and it'd be like, Summer, don't do that. You
Summer
know?
was the boss of the family.
She typical girl.
2 weeks. First interview. 2 weeks. First interview. Summer was the boss of the family. She was the boss. She was the boss of the family.
To get out of line, she'd put them in line.
She'd do her best.
She loved to play in the mud.
She loved to play in the mud.
In the water and swing on her swing.
And she may have. But
enjoy dirt.
Remember, she's not presumed gone, or she's not presumed passed away at this point.
When I run the lawnmower around, she would run behind me. When the boys run their bikes around, she, as fast as that little bike could go, she would be behind them running and keeping up with them, no problem. You know, she loved to run. She just loved to run, and she could pull herself up on that swing, her full body weight with her two hands.
And it's not just one past tense. It's every single story. Every single story. And this is 2 weeks after Summer was abducted. And she's gone. She's gone. And Candace waited 2 weeks to publicly talk about and plead. By the way, I don't know. I mean, she kind of,
and she could do that. None of the other boys can do that, but she can.
Was she in school yet?
No, she's going this year.
This was supposed to be her first year.
She's been, we did all the, what?
I took care of everything.
Yeah.
I had her already took on all of her.
We did all the what?
Shots and registered in the school for ready for this year.
I just never expected for anyone to get.
Never expected anyone to give a damn. Never expected anyone to catch on. Never expected anybody to cover the story the way that they had, or that anybody would question your thoughts about this or your actions. You never thought about that. You did not think that this would turn into what it has turned into at all. And it's a nightmare for you.
Get a hold of my heart like she has. because I try to guard my heart as much as I can, but she holds my heart in her little hands, and I love her with all my heart. I'd do anything to have her back.
Do anything to have her back, but she's only been abducted, according to you.
If there's any way, if you can find it in your heart to please release her somehow. I don't know how you might do that. I mean, you're probably scared of going to prison for the rest of your life and everything else, I'm sure. But please.
I mean, what? That's you.
Find it in your heart how for the rest of you might do that. I mean, you're probably scared of going to prison for the rest of your life.
You're probably scared that you're going to prison for the rest of your life.
Everything else.
Right.
I mean, you're probably scared of going to prison for the rest of your life and everything else, I'm sure. But
wow.
Please find it in your heart, have mercy, and find a way of letting her go and where we can get her back. And just please have mercy on her. And, you know,
I was kind of thinking that too. It was almost like we're scared to go to prison the rest of our lives, because that would suck, no doubt.
And us and her brothers. And she's such a loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home. That my biggest fear is, you know, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something, because she loved to be outside all the time. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall. Because a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? You know, go get Summer now." You know, and that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person.
She loved to be outside.
Yep. And I'm so afraid that she's locked away. She's such a loving heart and everything. And I'm afraid that she won't be able to, locked away where she can't be outside or play with a puppy or anything, love nature, and that's my greatest fear, that she's not able to do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly, I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it.
I mean, he knows what happened.
So easy to get all the negative.
What a look, huh?
It's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I'm just, I appreciate y'all.
So, and Linda, you're exactly right here. After 2 weeks, this is what they come up with. This is what they go with. This is their plea.
The good things you say and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee.
For some reason, Candace giving herself and I'm not saying that she had anything to do with her.
I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home safely too.
Oh God, I'm gonna tear up here. What an absolute plea. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing. She disappeared without a trace. They haven't found anything, haven't found a body, nothing. And And, you know, when you see cases like that, that's why I lose hope on Summer. You know, I want to keep hope, but sometimes I lose hope.
Lose it.
And I think, well, maybe we won't never see her again, you know. So I start thinking in past tense, sorry. But I'm trying to keep hope up. I'm trying to keep my prayers up and all that.
What 2 weeks, and that is what they came up with. Oh, Josh, that was so long ago. That's what makes it the most important. Because if they gave an interview like this now, I'd be like, yeah, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 weeks. Oh, this was at the very beginning. I know. That's what makes it so disheartening. That's what makes this so disheartening. That's what makes it so scary, because they're not acting like parents who are missing their child for only 2 weeks that they're positively sure that she was abducted. Oh, this is an old interview. I know. And that, like I said, that's what sucks about this interview, is that it is old, but it was right after Summer went missing, within 2 weeks. This is an interview that you give 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later. Summer was the boss of the family. Summer loved to be outside. Summer loved this. Summer loved that. She's not dead, according to you guys, that she's only been abducted. Holy crap. Show me one piece of evidence. Show me that behavior is evidence. Behavior is evidence. And if you don't like that kind of evidence, tough skis, shit skis, because it is. If you don't think that law enforcement sits back and goes, did you see that? Did you see that interview? Did you see it? Yeah, I saw it. What do you think? Oh, man. Behavior is definitely evidence. Behavior means more than we will ever understand. The behavior of the parents matter. The behavior of the parents matter. I read this article about them once. One of the very first articles I write. And by the way, or read, you would think, well, that seems a little, why would they do it that way? I'll tell you why. The article said the troubled parents of a missing daughter, Summer Wells, have a troubled past. Yes, they do. Is that a fair article? Yes, it is. Why? Well, this isn't their first go around. This is not the first go around with law enforcement, CPS, missing children. This isn't the first one. And yeah, and J-Lo too says troubled indeed. Troubled is kind of on the low end. Like troubled, that's
up to those kind of women. She, they were, the word I'm looking for, I can't think. She's such a loving heart and everything. And I'm afraid that she won't be able to, I'm blocked away where she can't be outside or play with a puppy or anything, love nature, and
it's not a,
that's my greatest fear.
Not a great house.
Not able to do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly You know, I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive
And find her
because
daughter.
it's so easy to get, you know, lost in that negativity and stuff.
And find your daughter. So find her. Find her. Don't just say it. 'Cause I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of lip service, but I don't see much in the way of actually doing anything. It's bizarre. And like I said, they have failed with their obligations to their children. They have failed their obligation with Summer, whether they had anything to do with her going missing or not. The behavior from then on is still terrible. Still. Because if your child is abducted, that is not your fault. You can't help it if some creep tries to steal your child or steals your child. Now, there are things, you know, by the way, and I'm on the firm belief, if that is the case, that they were exposing their children to people that they shouldn't. Unsavory people, which makes them just as guilty. You don't bring those kind of people in your house around children. People get mad when you cuss around their children, let alone bring scumbags around. You're still responsible for that. But what are they doing right now? What are they doing right now, 2 years later? 2 years later. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you to the new members and the super chats and stickers, the likes. Thank you guys for being here so much. Lab After Dark tonight. We're back tomorrow. I appreciate you all very, very much. Thank you guys.
We're live on the air, so don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here.
Nobody's.
You're not a cop.
No, you're.
Think I don't love my daughter or something, like you're holier than now or something.
There is no investigation.
Live from the MBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really?
This young man.
This to me.